Recording. All right, it's about 4 minutes after. Is there any addition to the agenda or corrections or? Can't afford to have any. Let's see, we have the congressman. Who is that congressman? Because it comes under congressman.
This is his point.
Oh, yeah, okay,
Represent, yeah,
right,
Congressman O'Connor.
right, okay. Just want to make sure I didn't want to say the wrong name. Okay, all right, meeting's called to order. Minutes of the April meeting. If you can review those quickly, you got those last week, actually. So there were a couple of corrections. Ty, did you want to mention that? For the April. Hi, are you there?
It's like Ty is taking a last minute phone call.
Oh, really? Okay, I'll tell you what the two corrections were. The number 5 for the minutes for the April. Of course, that was wrong to the top. The header says March, but it's April. And number 5, it says the police, the county sheriff, they were staging at St. Victor's Church, not St. Vincent. It's St. Victor's.
Okay, hang on. I had to drop off because the Cortezzi connection was a problem. Eric, could you please make sure that this guy gets elevated to a presenter? He's going to communicate with you by chat. And so I had to drop off. I'm sorry. Linda, you're on the minutes right now?
Yeah, I just told him it was St. Victor's instead of St. Vincent. And that was the main thing. Did anybody have anything else about the minutes? Vishnu's not here. Otherwise,
The minutes.
say
So the church's name is what again, Linda?
Victor.
Okay.
V for victory.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so I made the change for St. Victor. I made the change for Vishnu's last name. That was a
Yeah.
typo.
Yeah.
And I corrected the fact that these are April minutes, not March. So
Okay.
with those changes,
There's no objection or no other further changes. We'll accept it as recorded. All right. Treasurer's report, Susan.
Hi, everybody. So I have the treasurer's report for April 2021. Our beginning balance on April 1st was $3,679.34. We had received $30 in income from membership due payments. We had expenses, the Zoom monthly service for January, February, March, and April, and WordPress website, the 2021 annual fee. That expense was $277.84. So our ending balance on April 30th, 2021 was $3,431.50. The Beautify San Jose Grant Cycle 3 for 2021, the beginning balance April 1st was $1,397.35. We had no expenses, and the ending balance on April 30th was $1,397.35. Then we have the City of San Jose District 4 grant. April 1st, 2021, we have $10,000. There were no expenses yet. And ending balance on April 30th is $10,000. And I'm still taking dues if anybody would like to pay halfway through the year, $10. Thank you.
I sent you an email today. I don't know if you got it from United Neighborhood.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So
Thank you.
Yeah, it's not urgent. It's got a couple months. Okay, any questions? All right. Did our police and sheriff show up? Eric, do you know? I can't see anything.
I see the sheriff's here.
How can you see? Okay, I don't see anything. Oops. Oh, here we go. Thank you. Oh, look at Tim. Hi, Tim.
How are you? I made it. Thank you for the call.
Yeah. And Jeffrey, you got on. I see Jeffrey Fairfield. I see you got on. Okay, good. So there, you're here, and they're here. Okay. All right, moving right along. Let's see. Oh, the sheriff is here, but I didn't see the Captain Trayer yet. So the sheriff, Lieutenant Quinones, I'll let you go ahead. Oh, you're on mute.
Sorry. Good evening, everyone. How are you?
We're good.
Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Everybody can hear me? Good.
Yes.
All righty. For your monthly report from the Sheriff's Office for Sierra Road, we had a couple of things going on. We had about 16 patrol checks up on the street. Went down a little bit. Our calls for service were a little bit higher. We did have 25 vehicle stops during the last month. Those include a couple of suspicious vehicles that were called into us, and a lot of them were self-initiated. We had 3 information calls that came out just to provide us with information on Sierra Road, things that were going on. We did have a theft that was reported to us by one of your board members, and right now that case is with the detectives. They are working on it. It was reported as a petty theft, and I don't have any other information because I checked the detective notes, and I didn't see anything written, so they're actively working that case right now. Other than that, we're getting prepared, getting ready. We have 4th of July. I know it's a couple of months away, but it comes really fast, especially for us. We need to get all our resources in place. So we'll be meeting with San Jose and CHP very shortly. And hopefully by next month, we'll have a good update for you guys on where we're at with 4th of July. That's pretty much all I have for this month. Oh, we actually had a trespassing also. I don't have any details as far as if they made an arrest or not. But as far as any felony type crimes, nothing to report this month. So that's actually good news.
Okay.
Does anyone have any questions for me?
Questions, anyone? I don't see anyone. Okay.
Thank you guys very much, and we'll see you all again next month.
Okay, great. Thank
Take care,
you.
everybody. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
We'll I hope Captain Trayer is going to show up, but it is being recorded. Yes, it says at the top. All right, so we'll go ahead on to the reports from officials or elected members. And the first one is Senator Wachowski, and Tim Orozco will be speaking on his behalf.
Yes. So, hi, how are you, everybody? I made it. I joined you last March with the senator for the Citizen of the Year, and that was a great event. I just want to, I'll make it brief. There's a few bills, 3 bills I want to point out that the senator is working on. One bill deals with in-vehicle cameras. So here the senator is trying to protect our consumer privacy. And so what this bill will do, because as you all know, a car is like our home. It's like our second home. And so today there are many car manufacturers, BMW, Tesla, some others that are putting these cameras inside the car, inside the vehicle. So we need some protection when it comes to that. So this bill will prohibit video. One will make sure that consumers are informed that you have a camera in the car when it's being sold to you. So at the time of purchase. So that's number one. And the second is, probably more importantly, it will prohibit video recordings made of the interior of a car from being used for advertising or sold to third parties, which apparently they can do right now. And so, you know, and at some point when there's visual recognition or whatever, that type of technology, and they're going to start recognizing our moods. Well, right now, you know, they can recognize your behavior, your attentiveness as a driver when you're in the car with these cameras. So we're, you know, it could be a slippery slope. So the senator is trying to protect our consumer privacy with this in-vehicle camera bill, SB 346. That's one. The second one is a bottle bill. It's called the bottle bill. It's to revamp and reform our recycling program and the beverage container redemption program, you know, the CRV, that 5 cents that we get. So, and as you all know, I think it made the news a few months ago, there were a lot of places that were closing down. to be able to recycle your bottles, your cans. And I do that regularly. We're lucky because here in Berryessa, we can go to Schnitzer down at Berryessa. That's where I go. So I'm able to redeem my bottles, my plastics, and my cans. So what this will do is it's actually to revamp the whole program. It's going to put the responsibility on the distributors like Bottomley and the others that exist, and they will be responsible for the entire program. So so Cal Recycle will just be enforcement and will just be dealing with the enforcement of the program. So it'll take away, actually it will reduce state bureaucracy. You like that, Ty? We'll reduce state bureaucracy and we'll put it in the hands of the private distributors. They will be responsible for coming up with a stewardship program that places redemption and recycling responsibilities on themselves. So, so that will be in the near future. That's a bill. And I think the goal is April 2023, where these distributors or where the stewardship program must develop and submit a plan to Cal Recycle. So that will revamp the entire recycling program. And hopefully this bottle bill, and the bottle bill will be, the current program will be repealed July 2024. And it'll be replaced with the new program that will be run by these, by the distributors. So hopefully that'll work. And then finally, there's a 2-year bill that deals with food dyes. This might be good. The educators, Roxanne, you might be interested in this bill because we know that food dyes, there have been some scientific research that says it causes behavioral, what would you say, certain behaviors that are detrimental to young people, to children. So, you know, they're a little more anxious, more anxiety, more they have attention deficit disorder because of these dyes. So, so this will require a label, a safety label on some of these food dyes. And I forget which ones, the greens or the reds or whatever, but the ones that cause harm to children. And so it's a 2-year bill. It's going to take a while because, you know, these bills are hard to do sometimes. So a safety label for certain dyes that cause behavioral harm to children. So those are the 3 bills I wanted to bring up. As you all know, if you watch the news today, there's no May revise. You know, our taxes are due May 17th. It was extended. So typically the May revise is based on the April 15 numbers that come in. But the finance department still is aware that we have a $75 billion surplus. I have to figure out how that happened, but it happened. So with that 75 billion and another 25 billion by the federal government, the governor today announced a $100 billion comeback plan, which would expand the Golden State stimulus to families. So, you know, they'll get their $600. 2/3 of Californians will get $600. Families and children will get an additional $500. So those are direct payments, I think of like $12 billion of direct cash payments. And then some $5 billion to help renters with paying rent. So that's a plan, probably the biggest economic recovery package as a state and for the state of California. So that was announced just today. I don't know if you know what the Golden State stimulus is, but you know, right now it's just people who make under 30,000, those who get Cal EITC, earned income tax credit, those who never got a federal stimulus and have ITIN numbers undocumented, you know, they are eligible for the Golden State stimulus today. So this is a big expansion of that. So just wanted to announce that. We're plugging along. It's tough, you know, that we can't see each other and actually do this in person. I can't wait till maybe September. Hopefully we'll go back to school like all the kids do. I got vaccinated. I'm happy to say I got my 2 Pfizer shots at Levi's. You know, my mom got vaccinated. So it looks like people are adhering to CDC guidelines. So hopefully we'll all see each other at the end of summer. That's it. Thank you.
Okay, great. Good to see you. Thanks.
Thank you.
All right. Anurag Pal is representing Assemblyman Alex Lee.
Good evening, everybody. This is Anurag Pal with the Assembly Member Alex Lee's office. And just gonna pick up from where Tim left. I just put a couple of information in the chat in case you want to know more about Golden State Stimulus. Our offices hosted a joint event back in March. You can rewatch it. The video is there, very informative information on the stimulus, how you can get it if you don't know. But main thing is just file your taxes, even if you never filed before. So you will get it automatically. A few updates from Assemblymember Lee's office. I'll mention 3 bills that have went to the committees or the floor. One is AB 339, and I'll put the description as I speak in the chat so you can read along if you like. So cities like that have population of 250,000 or more, such as City of San Jose, will be asked to require to have a Zoom type access for all their residents, so you can participate in city council meetings from your home as we do right now. So he's trying to make that permanent. I think that he had to make some amendments to have it for only big cities, but it passed the committee and it's, I think, pending for appropriation, and we hope to get that through soon. The second bill I mentioned that affects schools, mostly private schools. We're just requiring them to follow the same guidance as our public school does. Basically have all the standards of safety and make sure they do all the SQL analysis before they build the site. So that also passed the committee and is pending for appropriation. And one of the big bill that I think that's going to help our small businesses, AB 1444. This will prohibit third-party companies like DoorDash and others, or Grubhub, to charging our fees from our restaurants, because during the pandemic, this was one of their main source. But we found out that they were paying a lot to these companies rather than making them money. So restaurants have to pay a lot to these third parties platforms when you order from their platform. And sometimes if you just look them up, they still charge them, even if you have never ordered. So that bill is going through. It passed the Assembly 68-0 with 10 abstains. That was his first bill that went through the Assembly. So that was a big success, and we hope to get that through the Senate and get it signed by the governor, which will help our restaurants. And those are small businesses that have went through a lot. A couple of events. The one event we actually hosted on Saturday was a bystander intervention training. As you all know, there's a rise in API hate crimes, and we joined Supervisor Lee, council members from Santa Clara, Kevin Park, Raj Chahal, and Sud James to host this event. This training provides you information of how you can help somebody if you see a hate crime or hate incidents happening in front of you, and how you can help the person who's being targeted. The training video is on our website. You can watch it. If you need the slides, you can email me or let Linda know, and I can send it over to you. We have the copy of the slide. The presenter was from CARE Council on American Islamic Relations, and they do these training quite often. And if you have any questions, I can also provide you contact for the presenter. We are hosting. We're gonna have our San Jose office hours on the 19th. I don't have RSVP link yet, but if you want to meet Assemblymember Lee one-on-one via Zoom, please email me or let Linda know, or Ty. They can get back to me, and I can have your appointment confirmed. And we'll be sending out an alert probably tomorrow or Wednesday. So if you sign up for our alerts, you will get it through that. We're also hosting a API Heritage Month celebration event via Zoom. We'll be honoring some API community members in our district. We'll be hosting somebody from Berryessa, and I'll get more information to you later this week or early next week. We'll finalize some details. These are all the updates I have. If you have any questions, I'll be here. I'll be happy to answer. And let me put last item, San Jose. I will put it in the chat. From 6 p.m. So let me know if you have any questions, and I'll put my email in the chat as well.
Okay, great.
This will be a Zoom one-on-one. So you come on Zoom like you right now, and you can meet from 10 minutes on discuss any issue you like. So it's your time. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Hiep Nguyen is representing our United States Congressman Ro Khanna.
Hi, everybody. This is Hiep Nguyen from the Office of Congressman O'Connor. What our congressman doing during the COVID time? He's actually still very busy. He's still doing once a month, the town hall meeting, through Zoom, and there's a lot of constituents attended it. Last month, he just came back to the Bay Area to visit the Bay Area and visit a lot of places to see how we deal with the COVID-19. And you know that in Santa Clara, we have an issue in distributing the vaccine to the county and city level. So he wrote a letter to Governor Newsom and asking him to resolve that issue. And we know that the issue now in the past. Now it's our time to convince people to do the shots. That's very interesting. He also worked with the California delegation to bring about $1 billion in the American Rescue Plan funds to Fremont, Santa Clara, Milpitas, Sunnyvale, El Viso, Cupertino, Newark, and San Jose, and including Alameda counties too. That's in our district over here. So that's he did other things that I just highlight some of them. Yeah. On the national level or congressional level, there's some bill that was passed that he introduced. I should introduce some of them, like the Veteran Apprenticeship and Labor Opportunity Reform. This bill that passed that allowed funding for our veterans, which is in the past they've been ignored. So the fund will fund on the veterans who want to have education, to have job opportunity. That's what passed. Another one that's important is I think the integrated digital experience, which is try to bring the internet to the rural areas that people don't have it. Yeah. An interesting thing in our area is we passed a bill to honor a fallen Navy SEAL, Matthew Alexson, by renaming the post office in Cupertino after him. Yeah, it sounds simple, but it goes through a lot of work. Yeah. So the one part that Congressman O'Connor is the chair of the Environment Subcommittee. So he's working very hard on the climate change issue. Just last month, he chaired a congressional hearing on climate change and on the impact of the climate change in our life. So that based on that we can have some kind of law to deal with climate change. Yeah. He also working on what we call the Essential Workers Bill of Rights. In that, we want to provide comprehensive health, safety, and compensation rights to essential workers. These are the people who are in front line to deal with COVID-19. Yeah. So he working very hard on that. Another bill we're looking on is the we call peace bill. It is the police exercising absolute care with everyone, based on the fact that we have so many shootings, so many incidents about that. So the main thing is try to make the bill that police should use the force, be an absolute last resort to deal with people. Yeah, so that's the one he worked on. In the international field, he's working on the No War Against Iran Act, so that we prevent the war, and also the Yemen War Power Resolution, which he tried to stop America to involve in the war in Yemen, launched by Saudi Arabia. Yeah. So that's the general information. There's so many of them. I have a whole pack of this, but I should pick out some of them. Again, next month, about July, the first week of June, Congressman Rokhana will come back to the area to visit here and there. Yeah. And also he will have the town hall meeting. Are you on the list for his town hall meeting, Linda?
Yes. Yes.
Oh, okay, that's great. Yeah, yeah. So if you want and everybody want, yeah, you can contact Linda to get on the list, and you ask him any question, anything, because he's very open to everything. That's it for today. Thank you very much. You have a great night. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate all your information. It's great. All right, we have Diego Martinez representing Santa Clara County Supervisor Otto Lee.
Hello, everyone. Can you hear me? Good.
Yes, I can hear you.
Yes.
All right. Thank you. Thank you for having me. It's nice to be in this Zoom with you guys, with everybody. So my name is Diego Martinez, and from the Office of Supervisor Otto Lee, I would like to provide a little bit of what's been going on. As of April 28th, the County of Santa Clara Health System and other healthcare providers cannot resume to use Johnson & Johnson. The county health system will still offer Pfizer or Moderna at all vaccination clinics. Johnson & Johnson vaccine will be available upon request at selected sites. Now all county residents age 16 and older are eligible to get vaccinated. Public Health Department encourages everyone to get vaccinated to protect oneself, family, and the community. On May 4th, the Board of Supervisors approved an agreement with the Healthy Kids Foundation to provide dental vision, hearing screenings, parenting classes, and insurance referral services to parents and children in Santa Clara County in conjunction with the county's efforts to ensure children receive access to healthcare coverage and routine and preventative health care. In response to the state funding from the California Department of Justice, Public Health Department will partner with multiple law enforcement agencies from across the county, including the County Sheriff's Office, the City of Campbell, Los Gatos, Montesarino, Morgan Hill, Mountain View, San Jose, and Sunnyvale. They will conduct 2 to 4 tobacco decoy operations per year at licensed retailers, prioritizing problematic retailers. In each of the 9 jurisdictions participating in the project with a goal of checking at least 100 retailers per quarter or 400 annually. Santa Clara County and our office is looking for residents who wish to serve the public through boards and commissions. Your service will contribute to improving the quality of life for all residents in Santa Clara County. A few openings are Senior Care Commission, Santa Clara Housing Authority, Sister County Cities, Measure A, Independent Citizens Oversight Committee, and Health Advisory Commission. I will provide the link on the chat so you could click and see other openings hope that I encourage many of you to look through there and encourage you to apply. And finally, a lot of residents have received county emails from former Supervisor Cortezzi. Now he's with the state. If you're interested in receiving Supervisor Lee's county emails, please go to our website at supervisorlee.org, register under the newsletters, or send an email to supervisor.lee@bos.seccgov.org. Thank you so much. And if you have any questions, happy to answer them. Thank you.
Thank you. Does anybody have a question?
No, I just want to say good job, Diego. Welcome to Berryessa.
There he is.
Yes, thank you so much. Yeah, I just came out of the gym. I had to get in the gym. I just had to, for my mental health. I just got to get it in. And I've been listening to the meeting. And nice to see you too, Tim. Thank you.
Good job. Thank you. I'm not going to call on David Cohen because we got him on for a half an hour later on. So we'll go to Santa Clara Valley Water District, Richard Santos.
Good evening, Madam President. Can you all hear me?
Yep.
Okay. Our next meeting of the Valley Water District will be at St. Victor's Church, and we'll all pray for rain. Okay. We're all very busy. All last month, we met with all the congressional people, our Congress people and so on, the senators' aides and so on, and chief of staff, addressing all the water issues and flood control in Santa Clara Valley. And whatever we can accomplish with President Biden's new infrastructure program. This month, we'll be meeting with all the state legislators and doing the same thing, trying to qualify every way we can to get more water. Imported water is very expensive, and we're doing everything we can to keep water here. Meantime, the Piedmont Creek U-frame channel that was built in 1960 has reached its 50-year life cycle limit, and that is being repaired in June. Other than that, we had continually address the water issues. And of course, the month of May is National River Cleanup. And on May 1st, I was able to get the county and the city of San Jose together. The Valley Water took the lead. We had 120 volunteers. We addressed Coyote Creek cleanup with the encampments along the creek off of Tully Road. Very successful. We brought out, David Hernandez brought out food and so on to help folks out. We have sponsors like Zanker Landfill and Republic Services that help support feeding folks that need help. Very successful cleanup. We hope everybody will continue. Our budgets are increasing. And we all know that people shouldn't be in the creek and they shouldn't be homeless, but we all need to help. Housing is the issue, and we're looking for our leaders to come through with that. And of course, we have our CEO coming up, so we'll be talking more about water. So thank you, Linda, and everybody.
Okay, thank you. Oops. I see Alexander. Were you going to say a few things about David Cohen's office, or leave it all to David tonight? Alexander, are you there?
I think we're good. We can just wait.
No. Huh?
We can just wait. It's fine.
Oh, okay. Thanks. Berryessa Union School District Superintendent, Dr. Roxanne Fuentes.
Good evening, everyone. It's great to see you today. It's been a busy month of April going into May. This past month, we transitioned our students TK through 8th grade back to in-person school. So it's very exciting to have students' voices back on campus and having that opportunity to transition back and see their friends. And, you know, for some of our students, TK kinder and 6th grade, their first time on their campuses, you know, for the whole year. So, you know, we're very pleased with the transition. We're grateful to our parent community and to all of our staff for making that possible. And we certainly look forward to what our intent is, a full return for the fall of 5 days a week, you know, full days, so we can get back to some sense of normalcy for the children. We also are in the midst of preparing for summer school. We're having our programs for our English learners. We're offering math support programs, as well as summer school for our students with special needs. And so that'll all be in-person support. So we look forward to providing that extended amount of time of learning for our students. In addition, we are also in the midst of enrollment for the fall. So if there are any new families in our community, registration is online. You can go to our district website and all the forms that are needed are available there. We especially would like to get to know our potential TK and kinder students. We have orientations that we offer in the summer. So highly encourage you, if you have family members with little ones, that they get their registrations in. In relation to COVID, we know that 16 through 17-year-olds are currently having vaccination eligibility, and there's events at Levi Stadium tomorrow, Wednesday, and Thursday from 5:30 to 7:30 for that age group. And we know that we're just days away from 12 through 15 being eligible for Pfizer vaccination. And Berryessa School District, we're looking to partner potentially with Safeway, and we'll be hosting on-site vaccination for those students, because certainly our 8th graders, 7th graders will be eligible for that opportunity. So we'll definitely send along information to BCAC members once we know that we have that in place. Just as a reminder, we do offer free COVID-19 testing on site at Sierra Mont Middle School, and that's for the entire Berryessa community. And that next opportunity is next Wednesday at Sierra Mont from 1:30 to 5:30. And then finally, we do have a new Safeway in the neighborhood over at Berryessa Road, 1455. And we are grateful to them being a new partner with the Berryessa Union School District. The Safeway Foundation, during their grand opening, provided our school district with a $5,000 check as a grant to support our student services. So we're very excited to have received that opportunity from Safeway. And then lastly, you all know Mr. Ector, the former superintendent. He's continuing to volunteer and do good work. He was a BCAC member, Citizen of the Year, and just on Friday, he was recognized by our AXA Association, which is our statewide Administrator Association, with the Robert E. Kelly Award for his volunteer service. So I definitely wanted to extend that to all of you, let you know that if you talk to him, you know, you can give him a congrats, because he certainly has worked hard and continues to provide service to our community. Thank you.
Great, thanks for sharing that. Send him a note, it'll be great. Thanks for Safeway, that's terrific. That's really gonna be nice. Okay. Robin Reimer from VTA Community Advisory Council.
Yes, hi.
Whatever
Thank
they
you.
want to call it, committee, whatever.
Citizens Advisory Committee is the
Yeah,
official name.
committee, yeah, there you go.
Yeah, a couple of updates. As you may have read, VTA was the victim of a cyber attack that kind of affected a lot of their IT systems. So if you're emailing them, please be patient. They have to work through some things. But yes, let me know if they don't get back to you. I will help to connect you to the right people. It's really coming at an unfortunate moment, because VTA is going through their budget season for their biannual budget for the next 2 years. So there are big decisions kind of getting finalized right now. Last thing I wanted to mention is that Assembly Bill 1091, which I understand is now co-sponsored by Assemblymember Lee recently, which will revise the VTA Board of Directors, how it is put together, who gets to appoint whom and who is eligible to serve, just cleared the local government committee in the Assembly and will go to a floor vote sometime this year. And that will obviously affect VTA very much. Happy to take any questions, should there be any. Thank you.
Questions?
Not a
Bob?
question, Robin, but a quick comment. The civil grand jury did a very, very thorough analysis of what was going on with the governance of the VTA. And it's a great source of guidance on what might be appropriate to make that a more responsive organization. Just thought.
Yeah, that grand jury report is why Assembly Member Berman from Palo Alto, Mountain View, actually brought the bill forward to kind of look at what governance reform would be appropriate for VTA to make sure that we have the best organization possible.
Great. Yeah, thanks, Robin. Appreciate your showing up. And from, it's Jeffrey Fairfield and representing Senator David Cortezzi's office.
Yes, hello, everyone. Thank you for having me here. I really appreciate it. So as Linda introduced me, my name is Jeffrey Fairfield, and I am a field representative intern for the office of Senator Dave Cortezzi. If you guys don't know, Mr. Senator Dave Cortezzi, he is in his first year of state legislature. However, he is coming out really hard and has introduced multiple bills that aim to try to help solve the problems that we face in our state. For example, one of the things that Mr. Cortezzi is really focused on in this legislative session is climate change. He has introduced multiple bills that are aimed to tackle climate change and aim to actually get us to the goal that California has set for ourselves. Another thing that we are really focused on is education reform. This is a big thing that the senator has been working on ever since he served in public office. And with that in mind, I want to share my screen and show you what the senator is doing on that. So give me 1 second. So if you guys can see on my screen, the senator is hosting an event. Usually this would be in person, but given the current situation with COVID, we are doing this as a virtual event this time. So what we are doing is we are hosting a Sacramento bus trip. And during this bus trip, we are having a bunch of senators and a bunch of other people very important to education come and just get to talk about the future of education in our state. We are also having multiple guest speakers, such as students that attend SJSU and other schools all across the state, come and talk about their experience with education and what they think needs to be done. Of course, you can come and join, ask any questions. We really would love to have more people join because education is very important for our state, and it's something that we really are passionate about and really need to work on. And of course, the senator would love to have multiple people come and give their opinions and share with us. As to other things the senator is doing, give me 1 second. Let me unshare this. Let's go back to, give me 1 second, sorry.
Sure.
As to other things, you can of course check out his website. There we host the latest news of what the senator is doing. You can sign up for his as you can see, we're showing that the virtual bus trip is coming up soon. You can see everything else the senator is doing. It has really great information if you want to keep up to date with what he's doing. Also, if you want to reach out to us and let us know anything that's going on in your communities, any help you need with government services, please feel free to reach out here on this website. There's a form that you can fill out to contact us and let us know what's going on. We here at my office where I work at are very involved with helping people with various state agencies. A lot of people have been having problems with various state agencies, and we are very on top of it. We'll get back to you usually within a day or two and try to help you get your problems solved. So that's pretty much about my office and about what we're doing right now. Thank you for having me here.
Thank you for keeping us in the loop. We've known David all his political life, I think. So school board on up. So it's nice that he wants to keep in touch with us too. We appreciate that. Okay, we're actually pretty much on time. Our next speaker will be, unless I skipped anybody, our introduction of Santa Clara County Water District, new CEO, Rick Callender. Oh, let's see. I need to get that screen off that's on there right now. Jeffrey.
Yeah, 1 second, please. Trying to figure out. Right there.
Oh, okay.
There we go. Thank you.
Well,
All right.
Good evening, Berryessa Citizens Advisory Committee. Good to see you. Thank you, Ms. Locke, for the introduction. I'm glad to be here with you tonight. Obviously, I would so much more love to be with everyone in person in the Berryessa Community Center. Miss visiting with everyone over there when we did have the meetings over there. A little bit about me before I talk about what's going on at Santa Clara Valley Water District. I'm a local guy. I grew up locally, went to Santa Teresa High School, Burnell Elementary, Blossom Valley Elementary School when it was open. It was closed. I've spent just crossed over 25 years at the Santa Clara Valley Water District. I came up through the government relations arm, so the public policy arm of the Santa Clara Valley Water District. I had the opportunity to have pushed through a lot of bills for the Santa Clara Valley Water Districts with the help of many of the folks that are probably listening out there in terms of trying to make changes for our organization, for our community, and then ultimately became the Chief of External Affairs about 5 years ago, and now I sit in the seat of CEO. I'm glad to be there. So let me talk a little bit about a strategic vision in terms of what I was looking at for Valley Water as I move forward, not only through the interview process, but trying to lead us into a different place than we are. I think one of the things that we are trying to do a little bit differently at Valley Water is make sure that we're using technology to increase productivity and business efficiency. That's one of the things I've been trying to pull forward. So we have been leaning on a lot more technological solutions just because, but one, more affordable, two, it'll make us more efficient for this community. One of the challenges that we've had at Valley Water is long been with our environmental regulators. We have had a very big challenge, and everyone that works in any kind of public works development, building of homes, building of any industry knows that environmental regulations and trying to obtain permits is probably one of the largest challenges. And so what I've tried to do is make sure we've improved our relationships with our environmental regulators. We've had, we were suing the Regional Water Quality Control Board. I've helped to basically to settle that. And I think hopefully we're going to be on the path of trying to find a path to basically try to balance out the environmental regulations and expectations with trying to make sure that we're protecting the dollars for the residents of Santa Clara County. And one of the things that's also looked at is organizational efficiencies by fixing silos in Valley Water. Folks that know us, we're basically what I call a three-legged stool in the organization. We have our watersheds, which is responsible for flood protection, responsible for watershed activities. Also underneath that is our environmental stewardship function, which is one of the legs of our stool. And then we have our water utility. Often what we were watching is internally, and over my 25 years, I saw it too, is that we would have our watershed function be kind of, I don't want to say at war, but not working very well with our water utility function. So how do you find that balance? So how do you find the balance of making sure that you have water for the environment, but making sure that we also have water for the residents of Santa Clara County? So I think what we've tried to do is fix those silos within the organization by creating a joint offices and putting them underneath a joint office to make it work. Some of the projects that we're looking at right in your neighborhood, looking at the Upper Penitencia Flood Protection Project. It's a project that costs about $374 million in total. It's a project where we've partnered with the Army Corps of Engineers and has been funded through our Safe Clean Water activities, which the voters just in November said, hey, let's go ahead and re-up that program. And so I'm hoping that this will be one of the ones that we'll be able to complete and rocket along. What we're also trying to do is look at different ways to fund a lot of our projects. Often what we were doing is we were funding our projects, so we collect the dollars, until we had enough money, then we would build the projects. Right now, what we're doing, and also incorporated into the board's budget that they'll be considering tomorrow, is we'll be looking at things that's called like a WIFIA loan. It's the Water Infrastructure Financing Innovation, and I don't know what the A is for, but basically what it allows us to do is take a loan from the federal government at low interest so that we can build the projects upfront faster and quicker, and then be able to pay it back over time versus, you know, keeping the community trying, and the projects get more expensive as you continue to go along. So that's one of the things that we're going to do. This Berryessa project will protect this area around the Berryessa station, and it will create a temporary floodplain to prevent floodwaters from entering the surrounding neighborhood and businesses. Right now, the status is we're wrapping up the initial planning phase of the project, and we'll begin the design phase in the summer. We also have some other projects that you might have heard about in the community. Coyote Creek, if you remember, Coyote Creek flooded in 2017. I actually live right off of Coyote Creek. I live right in the middle of San Jose, the south central portion of San Jose, not too far from Rock Springs, which really saw the devastating floods of 2017. And so that project, we're definitely moving along. It looks like it's about 63 million total. And so hopefully we'll be able to get those residents out of the floodplain. We're also working on a project where I call it the Lower Guadalupe, but it's Guadalupe River from Tasman to I-880. One of the things and one of the challenges that we had before this, and I told folks, it's kind of like robbing Peter to pay Paul. And so what we're doing is that we, rather than be able to provide the maintenance and the operations and maintenance of certain projects, people will say, well, we need this over here. So we would pull away from doing the operations and maintenance. So we have projects like the Guadalupe River from Tasman to I-880 that we put into place in the early 80s. It was not maintained, unfortunately. So those projects are now putting the community back at risk. And so we're going back in there to restore the flood protection levels of the projects to withstand a 100-year flood. And with the new Safe Clean Water, we'll never be in this situation again. We should not have a situation of where we build a project and we do not maintain it into the future because we're trying to figure everything out. So this is one of the things that we're going to be fixing. A project that's probably close to you, very familiar with it, I'm sure, was the San Francisco Bay Shoreline project. And that'll be protecting us against tidal floods and to restore marsh and wetland habitats. I'm keeping my fingers crossed. This is a project we're jointly doing with the Corps of Engineers. This project is out for bid right now. Bids are going to be opening in about 2 or 3 weeks. And so we're going to know what the cost is to be able to complete the project for the San Francisco Bay Shoreline. And I'm hoping that it'll be affordable. When we get the bids in, they'll be affordable. We're just going to move straight into construction. This is one that I'd love to be able to see get done. This is something we've been working on for a very long time. This part, it's called Economic Impact Area 11 or EIA 11. Everything has to have engineering names, I think, when you work in this kind of industry. But that's basically the Alviso area that it'll be protecting. And then we're going to be moving on and looking at the Shoreline project all the way from Palo Alto all the way down to the Sunnyvale area. So phase 2 will be Palo Alto to Sunnyvale, which we're actually working with the federal government right now trying to achieve funding. And then also nearby Milpitas, the Lower Penitencia Creek project, as well as the Lower Berryessa Creek project. We continue to work on those. I believe Director Santos did just talk a little bit about this. One of the other things, and as you look at the polling, when it was interesting, I saw polling about in the community about what is the #1 problem that people think is out there right now. I thought it was going to probably say COVID, the economy. I thought it was going to say something a little bit different. What came out was homeless encampments. And I think people see them all over. I see it too. Like I said, I live off of Coyote Creek. You have so many homeless encampments in the creek. And so one of the things that we're doing, and this is actually on our board meeting for tomorrow, is we're going to be working with the County of Santa Clara, I'm hoping, to enter into either a MOU, a memorandum of understanding, or a memorandum of agreement, or a joint powers of authority of something of the sort, so that we can deal with this. Right now, I think all the residents see it. They think that they see a homeless cat. They don't think they see it. They see a homeless cat and they feel like they get bounced around from agency to agency to agency. We really do need a one-stop shop, so when you call one agency, you know this is going to be handled, and we need to deal with this in a way that's compassionate. And that's one of the things that we've got to do, is how do we get these folks, at least for my interest, how do we get the folks out of the creek so they don't return back to the creek? And that's part of the problem. In our Safe Clean Water measure, it did include it includes $500,000 a year to try to get people out of the creeks. We don't want them to return back to the creeks. We want them out of the creeks, and we want them to be stabilized. So I think as we enter into this MOU with the county, as we enter into, hopefully, we're able to pull some of the cities and other municipalities along with us that will be able to hopefully address this in a way that works. We haven't seen a solution that's working so far, but let's not give up and let's continue to move forward. Director Santos does chair our homeless encampment committee, and so I'm hoping he's taking the lead on making sure that we're going to continue to find a way to get this fixed. And then I can't say without one of the biggest things, and I'll open to any questions that you may have, but one of the biggest things that we're experiencing is drought. Obviously, we're in the middle of a drought. As you looked outside today, yes, we are entering into the beginning of summer, but it felt like we've been having summer since winter. We've seen, we're in the third driest season on record in the state. I saw that the governor just, well, actually the U.S. Drought Monitor has declared Santa Clara County in an extreme drought. And I tell folks, not only are we in an extreme drought, but what the U.S. Monitor doesn't take into account is that we have Anderson Dam, which is going under, we're trying to fix Anderson Dam right now, and it's totally empty. That doesn't even take into account. So not only do we have an extreme drought, but we have the largest reservoir. This is our, out of the 10 reservoirs that we have, we can fit all 9 other reservoirs into Anderson. So not only do we have an extreme drought, but we have also a water supply situation that we're trying to deal with right now. So one of the things that we're looking at is we're trying to purchase water on the open market, emergency water supply, so that we make sure that we have enough water going in the future. And as you can imagine, it's a supply and demand issue. I'm watching the price of water go up, just skyrocket, as everyone is doing the same exact thing that we're doing. Every single entity is going out there and trying to figure out wherever they could purchase water and purchase it from them. So the cost of water that I saw in January to purchase on the open market, from what I just was briefed on today, is extreme what's going on. But we're going to make sure that we have enough water supply for Santa Clara County, and that's what we're doing. Our board will be hearing our budget tomorrow, which will include some of those dollars for the emergency water supply. We are making a call for conservation. The board did increase this call for conservation up from 20% to 25%. And I think as the situation, and this was 2 weeks ago, but the situation is, this is changing week by week. In fact, it's almost incredible to see the changes that are occurring week by week. Our board will be considering water conservation again at the end of this month. And I think right now, we're probably going to be in an even worse situation. The governor just declared, I think it was 41 counties today in a drought emergency. He did not declare Santa Clara County as a drought emergency. We're reaching out to the governor's office to say, we've got a drought emergency here. We should also be entitled to some of these emergency dollars, to some of these emergency things. Often what they're doing, like I said, they're just looking at the situation of how much rainfall was in this area. Well, they need to look at not only the rainfall that was in Santa Clara County, but the fact that Anderson Dam is down. That's got to be taken into consideration when we're looking at statewide drought emergencies. And then finally, for investments in our infrastructure to make sure we protect our water supply. I talked a little bit about Anderson Dam. We've got to rebuild Anderson Dam. It's going to be out for 10 years. We've got to make sure we stay on time. We've got to make sure that none of the regulatory processes slip. But what we've got to do is make sure we get Anderson Dam back. This community needs Anderson Dam. We cannot survive, especially with this kind of conditions we're in right now. So what we're also looking at is a lot of investments in recycled and purified water. We're in the process of negotiating with the city of San Jose on expansion of recycled water. If we're not able to bring that one home completely, we're looking at potentially in Palo Alto and placing a plant in Palo Alto. I think right now, as you're looking at recycled water, and as we enter into a drought right now, the state board and everyone has not released the regulations to go to what we call direct potable recycled water. Right now, it's indirect potable. So we'd have to create pipes. We'd have to pipe, basically to our recharge ponds, then let it settle, and then that's how we pull it back out. I believe where we are right now, and the drought emergency third worst record of rain in the history of this state, I think you're going to see direct potable regulations. So plants like what we're thinking about with Palo Alto, if we're able to get that one built fast enough, I'm willing to bet you in about a year and a half, we're going to be talking about direct potable recycled water, and we'll be able to, rather than having to build pipelines for groundwater recharge, we'll probably have the option to do both, groundwater recharge and pipe it directly into our system. I think that is the kind of serious situation we're seeing right now. And so I think the regulations are going to really have to catch up to the emergency of which we're facing. And then you may have heard a little bit about a Pacheco Dam over the weekend. We are evaluating Pacheco Dam, but just like every project, you got to evaluate it to know if you should be doing it. You don't just say, oh, this is what it looks like. Don't evaluate it. You don't come up with the economic impact report or environmental impact report to say, should we be doing this? We haven't gotten that far. I believe we're going to have those answers and be able to make recommendations back to our board by January of this year. But right now, yes, we're looking at Pacheco. Yes, we should be looking at Pacheco. Yes, we should be looking at any and every option, including conservation. The last thing I want to do from my seat is talk about the fact that Okay, well, we blew up this project, and then you figure out, wait, you needed that project. You needed the water supply. I do not want to sit in this seat and affect the economy, affect the community that I grew up in, affect the community that I love and that I live in. Yes, I pay for these things myself as well, but we need to do the responsible thing. And we need to make sure that we're responsibly looking at everything. And if it doesn't, if the cost doesn't look good when you look at it, then you throw it out and you continue to move on. But we're going to be looking at recycled water. We're going to be looking at stormwater capture. We're going to be looking at purchasing water on the open market, which is probably the most expensive you could do because that's other people's water. We've got to create our own water supplies and make sure that we have responsible water supply. So that's a lot that I've talked about, a lot that I've covered, but one thing I do want to leave you with is we will make sure that we're fighting for Santa Clara County to have safe, clean, reliable water supply for the future. And with that, Ms. Locke, I will look to you to see if you'd like to take questions from me or how you'd like to handle it.
Well, that was a lot of information tonight, I'm sure. We're so pleased to meet you, and Dick comes faithfully every month, and he's been doing that for years, so he keeps us informed, but that was a lot of information tonight. But we have a guest speaker, and it's due for him, and he's going to have a lot of questions that were asked of him, and so he's prepared, I'm sure, David. And so we'd like to thank you very much for Callender for coming tonight. And,
thank you so much, and don't hesitate to ever invite me back. Definitely, we have a lot going on. I really appreciate your openness and open arms and bringing us here, even though I know you got Director Santos here all the time.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Okay, David, the rest of the night is yours. I don't know how you want to proceed. I would assume you have a presentation, right? Are you there? Hello?
David, you're on mute.
No wonder.
I know I'm on mute, and I was trying to find the mute button, but once I shared my screen, I lost the mute button, and then I was right after that circumstance. I apologize for that panic moment that I had where I couldn't get my sound going. Anyway, I'm glad to be able to speak with you tonight. There's a lot of stuff going on, a lot of things I want to cover, so hopefully I'll have some time at the end to take some questions, but I think we'll get through a lot.
Yeah, you have the whole rest of the evening till like 8:30. Yeah, it's 25.
So we'll just start quickly. We have a lot going on in the district. Obviously, priority number one has been public health and safety. This past Saturday, we partnered with the American Red Cross to present fire safety training event. This coming Saturday, we're hosting our first Safe Neighbor training. It's going to be in person. We're excited. We're going to have people, up to 50 people with us out at Merrill Middle School to do training with the police department. They will provide resources and knowledge to help people protect themselves and come to the assistance of others. And then we're going to continue to run that program regularly, hoping to certify thousands of people in San Jose to make our community safer. We're also working to get everybody vaccinated. We partnered with Gardner Community Clinic up in Alviso to run a clinic up there for people who didn't have access, and it was very successful. We vaccinated about 300 people in Alviso, and we're hoping to do another now that there's other age groups available. We also have connected with Northeast Medical Service. It's not as many people know about that, but it's a very good community health center that's actually located on Lundy, right by Hofstetter. And they are offering vaccines to all Berryessa residents. And in particular, we're working with them to try to partner with the high school district to get our high school students vaccinated. I was very excited to see the FDA approve the 12 to 15-year-old vaccines today. So I'm glad that Roxanne mentioned that, and excited that the school district is thinking about working with a safe way to get people vaccinated, to get the younger students vaccinated. It'll be really important for the fall that our 12-year-olds and everyone 12 and above is vaccinated when they start school. Sorry that Captain Trayer couldn't be with you today. I know that it's been a really busy week in our district and around the community, and I'm sure he had other things that were distracting him. We had a sizable fire over at Berryessa and 680 today, so he might have been there, but we also had a police officer get hit by a car up on Suncrest over the weekend, and he's been working on that. Our thoughts are with the officer and his family, and we thank him for his service to the community. He was patrolling our district and making sure that we were safe. So we're continuing to think about him. In the month of April, our district was, oh, better put the PowerPoint in presentation mode. Sorry about that. Okay. Is that in presentation mode now? Okay. We were excited in April in our office to showcase District 4 programs at our city council meetings. We brought the Berryessa Chinese School in, and they talked about their programs and had their students do a musical performance via video, of course. And then at the end of the month, the Sierramont Choir also performed for the city council, and it was a big hit to showcase our music program in the district. I also did want to mention, before I get into some of the other meatier topics, about the sad loss of our librarian at the Berryessa Community Center, Scott Kimizuka, who has been spent 40 years working for the San Jose Library. I'm sorry, I said the Community Center, but San Jose, at the Berryessa Library. He spent 40 years working for the San Jose Library system, and he passed away suddenly in the middle of April. So we remembered him at one of our council meetings in April. He started working in the library at the age of 16 and has been there ever since at various branches, and spent his last 4 or 5 years at the Berryessa branch, and was very well respected by our community. So now on to some of the other things that we're working on. You know, aside from downtown, our district really is the epicenter of development in San Jose, and the city is counting on our district for economic growth, for housing growth, and for other key development. And part of that is our Berryessa Urban Village. As was mentioned already tonight, we opened the new shopping center there. I think you're all going to love what's coming. There's new restaurants, shops coming this summer. And there's already a CVS and a Safeway, a beautiful Safeway. That Safeway, in addition to being a great large Safeway shopping center, Safeway store, also is a regional procurement center for their online orders, which will allow people to have very convenient delivery of groceries in our area. We got a tour. They've got a really state-of-the-art automated sorting system to be able to get groceries ready for people. It also will employ 175 people in our community just in the Safeway alone at that shopping center. We are now working on the Berryessa Urban Village south of the Berryessa community, south of Berryessa Road. You may have seen the news last week about the fact that we've gotten a long-term commitment from the developers there to put in an ongoing urban market. It was really important to me as I joined council to preserve that market there. It's our community is known throughout the Bay Area for the amazing flea market, and the idea that development would happen there without preserving the flea market was a really big problem for me and for many members of our community. So we worked with the developer in the last month to develop a space set aside for a permanent urban market, modeled after European urban markets. And I think it will be a beautiful space once the whole thing is built. I have a picture here on the screen that shows at least just a conceptual idea of how that market might be placed amongst the development that's coming at the BART station. You can see the red represents vendor spaces with some shaded areas with the white structures, and it will accommodate a large number of vendors right on site, and we're still working to make sure that we accommodate as many of the vendors as possible. Just to be clear, the development there is still years away. What's happening right now is that the city is updating the zoning for that area to make sure that we get the right numbers of housing units, office space, and we put into the city zone an urban market there, so an urban market can be built when development starts. But we think it's probably 4 to 8 years away before we'll actually see anything built there. And in the meantime, we can continue to enjoy the flea market as it is today. Another part of our district that's really important for San Jose is the North San Jose area. We are working really hard to try to restart development in that part of our district because there's potential for tens of thousands of new housing units right along light rail along the North First Street and Zanker corridors in North San Jose. So the we've been meeting with the Santa Clara City Council. They had been suing San Jose to try to stop the development, but we think we've made progress and we might be able to begin developing there. And it's not just good for people who will live there, but it will also allow us to build more amenities for the residents in North San Jose as more housing gets built. And then the third area of kind of denser development is along the Capitol Avenue light rail corridor. For years, that corridor along the light rail, near light rail stations, has been deemed an urban village type area. So anything that's being developed near a light rail station in theory could be denser than what we're used to. So I'm working really hard to understand what the plans are and make sure that you as residents of the district and as a Citizens Advisory Council will have input as any projects come forward. And I know that some of you have seen this rendering, or at least read about the potential project at Capitol and Penitencia Creek. There will be some opportunities for community meetings and public engagement over the next few months. And I encourage you all to give your input about what you think of these kinds of projects coming to that corridor. So my focus as a council member on the development side has been on these key areas in our district. And you know, other districts, particularly in south and west part of the cities, are not, as far as I'm concerned, meeting their obligation to take up their fair share of the development burden. And there is one proposal that I know has incited a lot of controversy to allow some densification in existing neighborhoods. And some people are calling this opportunity housing. But it's a little more complicated than what has been presented. And you know, it takes a little bit of explanation to understand where things are right now. First of all, there is a proposed law in the state legislature right now that would ban single family zoning across the state, would require all cities to allow duplexes where single family homes are today if property owners wanted to build duplexes. I am the San Jose representative to the California League of Cities, and the League of Cities is asking the bill to be amended so that cities can retain control over design standards and other zoning requirements. We don't want a law that will have no oversight from cities. We want to be able to continue to make sure that whatever happens in neighborhoods will still continue to keep the character of the neighborhoods and won't overwhelm existing neighborhoods. So that is very important to me, and any proposal that would come forward locally would have to retain neighborhood character and must allow the city to manage things like parking loads and other impacts. For example, the state has to make sure that they allow cities to prevent too much development in fire zones and other places that are unsafe. And so we're watching this kind of legislation very closely. There is currently no specific opportunity housing proposal coming before the city council, and nothing will come forward this year. There will potentially in the fall be a discussion on the council about whether to direct San Jose's planning staff to further study the issue and develop a proposal that could work in San Jose. As I said, any proposal would have to have these limitations that I discussed, at least in order for me to be supportive. But I do think it's a good idea for our city to study what this kind of proposal might look like. I also do want to note that many of our neighborhoods in District 4 already include duplexes scattered among single family homes. And I actually have a picture on the screen of a triplex in our Laneview neighborhood. And you can see that it looks just like the homes around it. And that's what I mean when I talk about making sure design standards and neighborhood character are retained and that the city still has control over that zoning. That's really important for me. We have these kinds of multiplexes in neighborhoods along Lundy near Vinci Park. We have them on Penitencia Creek Road and in that corner near Capitol. We have entire neighbor areas near Northwood Elementary School that are mixed with single family homes and multiplexes. So this is not new to our area. The real question is whether or not densification should only occur near transit. And so here's the real issue. Currently, the rule that San Jose would operate under would require that there would be no single family zoning within 1/2 mile of transit lines. That means much of Berryessa already falls in that category. What I'm concerned about is other parts of the city, particularly in the south and west, would be off the hook for denser development, and we would continue to build more and more housing here in District 4 and in a couple other districts, while other parts of the city don't build enough housing for the residents that are coming. So that's sort of an overview of that topic that I know that BCAC has taken interest in. The other big focus of our office this month is preparing for the upcoming budget year, 21-22 budget. As you know, San Jose is experiencing a very large deficit because of the pandemic, because of loss of revenue. We are fortunate that the Biden administration's COVID relief package provided relief for cities, and that will allow us to fill this year's deficit. So we will be able to balance the budget in 21-22, but we do need to be careful about dealing with the city's ongoing structural deficit. Tomorrow, the City Council will vote to accept the new collective bargaining agreement with the Police Officers Association. Police salaries will be increased by 3.85%, assuming the council approves the deal. I've been talking to the city about increasing staffing of the police department, in particular, to reduce the amount of overtime our officers are forced to spend because we don't staff our police department enough. We also have been negotiating with POA on changing some of the ways that calls are handled. There are certain types of calls that are not best handled by police, and we've got an agreement with POA about how to change that. And we're also very excited that our new chief, and I know you're very familiar with Chief Mata since he used to be the captain here, he's going to work really well with us as a council to find new ways of delivering service while also providing adequate police service for our community. So on this next slide, just an update of our budget process. We, as a council, approved the mayor's March budget message and the priorities for investment, supporting an equitable recovery, making sure we get back to having a cleaner, safer San Jose, and accelerating solutions to homelessness and housing crisis. And after the council this week, the council begins the process of reviewing the budget and has an open hearing next week on the budget. But in the meantime, there are several community meetings where you can give input to the mayor and the city council on your priorities for the city. And the meeting dates and times are on the slide. This Thursday, this Saturday, and next Wednesday. There are 2-hour opportunities to give your input on the budget. We've also are working to bring additional funding and investments into our district. My office is focused on traffic calming and sideshow prevention, which has been a big issue for almost all of our neighborhoods. We're also focused on park improvements. We're working with the city to try to accelerate the next step of the Alviso Park Master Plan up in Alviso. And we're also very excited that next year is the 150th anniversary of Allen Rock Park. So we are going to put some, try to get some funding to have some events to celebrate the anniversary in 2022. And we believe that our district funds should be invested in our district. And there would be even more money to invest in our district if we hadn't, if the person in office before me hadn't given away about $500,000 in grants during his last 2 weeks in office. And I know there was a question about that. So I have a little bit of a summary slide here without getting into too much detail. We submitted 49 grants between December 15th and December 30th, the end of the year. Tried to spend $620,000 of District 4 money on those grants. Turns out he didn't quite have that much money in his half-year budget, so the city approved 39 of those grants. It was a lot of work for our city staff. They took 3 months to process all those grants. And at the end of the day, $495,000 was given to the 39 organizations listed on the right side of this slide. Many of them are worthy, many of them are local, but our office's opinion is that this money would be better spent hiring staff to support the district and to fix local problems in parks and streets. There's still one grant pending in addition to that $495,000. But we will provide some transparency and give a detailed report on this in the next month or two so people can see everything and where the money, District 4 money went at the end of last year. We're also talking with the city clerk's office about whether there might need to be some changes in the council grant policies so that in the future there wouldn't be as much opportunity to spend that much money in such a short period of time. and boy, time's running short. So I'm going to talk about homelessness. I know this is a big topic. I'll do this quickly, even though it deserves more time. In the past couple of years in our county, 3,300 people have been moved into temporary housing. 2,100 have been moved into permanent housing. But the problem seems to keep getting worse no matter how many people are moved into housing, especially during the pandemic. More and more people are on the streets. And so we have to continue to chip away at the problem. And it's going to be an all hands on deck cooperative solution. I'm glad that the water district is working with the county, and we'll work with the city and the state and local and other cities together in the area. Will have to work together to solve this problem. The city has been converting motels, and we've spent local money and Project Green Team money from the state to convert motels for our homeless residents to find places to stay. Our mayor, Sam Ricardo, is collaborating with other big city mayors in the state, asking for dedicated funding for big cities to solve the homeless problem. That would provide the cities about $20 billion over 5 years to build more solutions for homelessness. I think it's really important for us to get that statewide help. There are other solutions, such as building more modular prefab housing. We've built 3 of those already, and we need to continue to identify new sites. I know that the supervisors last week, with my support, started studying for other sites that might be available for temporary supportive housing. We're also working with Caltrans to identify Caltrans sites. Bridge housing is a very successful method. 70% of people who get put in bridge housing are finding permanent solutions and ending up not going back on the street. So because people move through those locations quickly, it's a really good solution to have more bridge housing sites to temporarily get people back on their feet so they can get into more permanent supportive housing. We also are working in our district to deal with the trash and blight problem. Every time we hear about a problem, we're working with our partners to get those cleaned up. We send the city out regularly to pick up trash. We're in contact with Caltrans continuously about sites along the highways that are a problem. We're very happy that they've been very responsive and moved very quickly, but obviously the problem keeps coming back. We're trying to sanction more locations to provide services such as portable restrooms, dumpsters, and other facilities so that people who are living on the streets have a place to throw out their garbage and keep their areas clean. I'm also very interested in finding more sites for RV parking around the area so that people who are parking on our streets will have a place to go. I know there was a question asked about navigation center. I haven't heard of any proposal in San Jose for a navigation center, so I'm not sure what that question was referring to, but there isn't a navigation center proposal on the floor right now. Anyway, long story short, there is no silver bullet. It's a complex problem, but we're continuing to work on various ways of solving it. Another big thing that's coming is redistricting. Here's a picture of our district. As you know, because we're surrounded by Santa Clara on the west and Milpitas on the north and east, it's very, very hard for us to redistrict and not lose key parts of our district. Our district was at the last census the largest district in the city, and I suspect there's going to be requests for us to find places to shrink our district down, and I'm concerned about what that means for Berryessa. I love every part of our district, and my goal would be to keep Berryessa together. The character of our community depends on it, but we'll have to work hard, and we'll have to continue to advocate for that. We have a redistricting commissioner in our district that I've basically told that she should listen to all the input, to be a strong advocate and fight for the needs of District 4. And you will have plenty of opportunities to engage with the redistricting commission as the process unfolds. The next slide basically shows the commissioners that I've appointed to various commissions since I've taken office. Most importantly, I'm not sure most importantly, but most importantly for interacting with BCAC is our neighborhoods commissioner, Anthony Rosello. I'm not sure if he's with us tonight on this call, but at some point we'll have him introduce himself to you. But our district gets 2 neighborhoods commission appointments, and we still have 1 vacancy. So I'm asking BCAC, if you have any recommendations, please ask them to apply, because we'll be appointing a second neighborhood commissioner hopefully in the month of June. we'll also be appointing our District 4 Planning Commissioner around that time as well. And I think, talking really fast, I got through all of my notes. Our next town hall meeting will be next Thursday evening at 6 p.m. You can find out by going to, asking our office, coming to our website, reading our newsletter about how to register for that. We're going to have a person from our fire department spend about half an hour talking about fire safety and the upcoming wildfire season, and then we'll be able to take questions from the community. And here's other ways to reach our office. So looks like we have 1 minute left for questions.
Hey, David, it's Raphael Savick. Linda, is it okay to speak?
Yeah, I mean, I don't.
Awesome. I appreciate it. A lot of topics you covered, whether it's the homeless situation, a lot of other topics you talked about, but the one point I really want to talk about is opportunity housing, because when you spoke about this, you mentioned it was actually single family houses converted into duplexes, but really the proposal is actually to take single family houses and either do two things: convert that one into 4 units and add 2 AD units in the back for a total of 6. Or what I could do is actually just tear down my home, no setbacks, no garbage restrictions, no parking restrictions, no community input, and I could build a 4-unit property and add 2 other AD units in the back. And for me, my understanding was that City Council was going to start looking at this in June, and the impact, that not just in District 4, but in the rest of San Jose, is going to change dramatically our neighborhoods. And I really want to get your input to say, do you really want to take the house where you live, your neighbor just goes ahead and bulldozes that home, builds a 4-unit property, 2 AD units in the back, no setbacks? Are you going to be okay with that? Because for me personally, I'm not okay with that. And I don't want to see that to happen in District 4. I don't want to see that happen in North Valley, Berryessa, Alviso, or any place in San Jose, because San Jose takes the biggest hit for any burden for housing in Santa Clara County. And sometimes it's time for us to step up to the plate to say, enough's enough. Let's keep our neighborhoods intact and decide on different ways of actually building housing for a growing, a city, which we expect in San Jose. So I want to get your record on the line right now and stuff and say, are you okay tearing down single family homes and building a 4-unit property with 2 AD units in the back?
Well, there's somebody that's going around lying to the residents of San Jose, so I'll be a little bit, I'll be a little candid with you at the answer to your question. There is no proposal on the table to do what you said. Now there are some people who say that could be a proposal, but that's not being proposed yet. As I said before, I would not support a policy that would not have design standards, which includes setbacks and design standards that meet neighborhoods, and deals with traffic impacts and allows the city to set requirements for traffic and parking and everything else. I don't believe that there's a policy coming forward that would do what you said. What's happening this year, and I believe it's October, is that the council will have a discussion of what kinds of parameters we might be willing to support, and ask the city planning department to go back under those parameters and do some studies and generate a potential proposal that would then be brought back in 2022. There's no vote coming forward this year, and anybody who suggests that there's a policy as open as you just described is being misleading at best. So what I said is what I believe, which is that if the policy has the ability for the city to continue to set zoning and design standard requirements, and depending on the size of property, that could change the number of units. I wouldn't support unrestrained development in neighborhoods, and that's not yet on the table. And so while I heard, people are going around, some people that are advocates are pushing for one method, one idea, and there's others who are pushing back. I have not been presented with a specific policy, and the limitations that I described are the limitations that I will stand up for our district.
That's good. And just let you know that information was coming from former council person from San Jose, Pierre Luigi Oliverio.
I know it's coming
and
from.
the Willow Glen Neighborhood Association, who
I
presented to BCAC. So it's not like we came up with this,
know.
you know, information. That information is actually out there. It's been proposed in Minneapolis, Minnesota, Seattle. I think it was Portland or Seattle, but it's been out there and stuff. And I just want to make sure that when we're looking at creating a better San Jose in our neighborhoods and stuff, we're taking everything into account to make sure we're protecting our neighborhoods.
And I know who's presenting it. You know, we can, if people want to talk more about why it's being presented that way, that's fine, but that's not really, I don't want to do that right now, but I'm not misleading you about my position. I will be thoughtful and restrained about what we will allow in our neighborhoods. In the short term, pay attention to some of the density development that's coming, because that's where we're going to see some potential impacts on our community as well. Some of the transit-oriented buildings that are happening. Linda, I'm willing to talk longer, but I know it's past 8:30, so I don't know what you want to do.
Am I able to ask a question?
I'm fine. It's Linda's decision, I guess, about how long she wants to continue, but go ahead.
Okay, my question is, you're talking about density, and one of the proposals is on approximately Penitencia Creek Road and Capitol Avenue, that there was going to be a high-rise structure going up about 7 stories high. We have a lot of traffic presently already, even though COVID is still with us, because Capitol and Berryessa is really the only access to the freeway to 680. Otherwise, you have to go all the way down to McKee Road. If this structure goes in, do you have any idea what that traffic is going to be like? It's going to be absolutely horrendous. Do we need a 7-story high residential building that would have all of those people commuting every single day? I'd like your opinion.
Yeah, so I mean, look, just first I'll just say the city zone requires, allows for this kind of building. And so I'm not suggesting that I support it, except that that's the current zoning for that area because it's next to a light rail station. The hope is that the district will, or that people who live in buildings like this will be using light rail. That's what they're trying to encourage, especially with the BART station. Now, I'm not, you know, I am not actually fully in support of this project, except to say that the project is being proposed under the current zone. There is actually, according to the current process, no role for the city council on a project like this. The way to provide input on this project is for residents like you to be there when they hold their community meeting to show what residents think about the scale of this project. So what I will do is I will be forwarding to BCAC, announce any scheduled community meeting dates so that you and others can be there with the developer and say what you think of this project, because they will have to listen to the impact testimony from residents in the area. So that's all I can say about it, is that you need to provide that input to the developer and to the city planning department, because the city planning department is the one that has the ability to approve projects like this. And if there's no, if there's no community outcry, then it's likely to proceed.
With all due respect, however, I think that you are our elected official, and if we have enough people that are against this particular project the way that it is perceived, would you stand up for District 4?
Yes, and I try not. I'm trying to avoid making a public position on something before it's even been sent for public comment. But I have told the developer that I'm not happy with the scale of this project, and that what I pledged to him was that I would let it be presented to the community so that you can all give your input. And then if it gets to that point, I will be able to stand up and do what I can to try to alter the project. All right, I don't know if there's any other questions. Okay, well, Linda? Linda's still here?
Good job, Councilman. That's the first time I called you Councilman in public.
Well, thank
It's
you.
great.
Right, I don't know, I guess, is Linda, did we lose Linda?
I don't know if we lost Linda, but since
It's on mute.
Oh.
Linda.
But since you're still on, I was wondering what is your feeling about the high tower in downtown San Jose?
The
Which
art
tower?
project. You're talking about the art project?
Yes.
Oh, that project?
Yeah.
I'm waiting to see what the environmental impact report tells us about any potential environmental impact. I'm excited about the idea of some kind of iconic structure. I voted to move forward with the process, but we need to make sure that what's being done is not going to have an adverse impact on the environment of that location. So we're going to watch and see how that environmental process plays out. There's still a lot of steps to go before it can get approved.
It looks pretty, but it's kind of scary to see it where it's going to be. So anyway, I thank you, David. I think you covered everything. I'll review my notes too. And if there's any other questions that we might have skipped, I think you covered everything, but I'll send them to you and you can send it back out to us.
All right.
So I asked the BCAC board to stay after this meeting so we could talk about something from our captain, police captain. And if Dick, you could stay also, I'd appreciate that. But everybody else can go. I think we're done for the evening. Our next general membership meeting is June 14th. Oh my gosh, that seems weird. June 14th. It'll be Zoom again, I am assuming. And then we have a BCAC board meeting next week, but we have one tonight right after.
That's Flag Day. Yay, American Flag
Oh,
Day.
that's what it is. I knew it sounded familiar. Yeah. So we get to wave our flag. All right. Thank you all. We got a lot of information tonight. If Dick, you can stay, and the board members, we can talk for a few minutes quickly because it is getting late and the basketball game is still on. So everybody else can leave. We appreciate your being here tonight. Eric, if you can stay on to it, I'd appreciate that. So
Bye, everybody.
bye-bye.